Hello, hello, hello. Oh, wait. Yes, there we are. Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us for a special episode of Heat Press Nation Live. I'm really excited to be here live streaming with you all today. We're going to give everybody a few moments to go ahead and join the stream. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. If you're tuning in for the first time in a long time, me too. Welcome back. So today I'm just gonna kind of like hop right to it. I have a few projects that I'm gonna be working on to show you for Father's Day. Now these are a few projects that, we've done in the previous years. We've done episodes on the live stream about different Father's Day gifts that you can make. All of these are available for you to order at heatpressnation.com. And if you order it today, most places in America are going to have it within a week. So you'll have enough time to get it, customize it, and give it to the dad in your life for Father's Day. I don't see anybody. Let me see. Give me just a second here. Let me open up. By the way, if you have any questions or like comments or anything like that, yeah, bring it on. I'm super excited to be here. Oh, what's up, my boy Patrick? What's up, man? He's saying, hey, friends. So good to see you. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to just put it in the comments. I'm going to go through there. If you want to shout out, say what's up, that's cool. Now, I do have one that's already been pressed. This is really cool. This is an apron. This is a Grill Father apron. Look at that. That is super cool. Great graphic. Now, this whole apron can be sublimated. We're going to show you over here. This whole apron can be sublimated, even though we only did this. Let me move that. So even though we only did this section, you could do the whole apron. Now, if you have a smaller heat press, you probably have to do it in sections. Or you could just do a big portion of it right here on the chest and still have it look good. So that's really cool. We're going to be showing you how to do that apron. But first, we do have a few other demos today. So I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. First up is this license plate frame. So this is super cool. And I'm going to show you my artwork. Now today I did print on a really big sheet. I did not need to use a piece of paper this big. This is like I think this is like our 13 by 19 inch paper. It's absolutely gigantic. Where am I going to trim? Trim right here. Realistically, I could have printed this on a sheet of 8.5 by 14, which, as you may or may not know, fits on my smaller Sawgrass SG500. So could definitely get this done on an SG500. And I'm just going to dive right in. Now, with this license plate frame, it does have this, it's yellow. I don't know if you can tell it, it's yellow. It's yellow because it has a special layer of protective film on it that keeps it from getting scratched while it's in transit. So make sure that you do peel it before you start pressing. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off. There we go, that yellow film. Just like that. Don't worry, someone will get that. And we're going to go ahead and align it. Now you'll notice here that my print is actually, I'm going to bring it back just so I can see it really quick. There we go. You'll notice that my print is actually a little bit bigger than my license plate frame. And that's what we call bleed. We want our print to be a little bit bigger. That way the entire surface of my frame will be sublimated. I don't want there to be any unprinted portions. I don't want to see any little white border marks that didn't get printed. I want everything to be printed on the surface of this frame. So now I did tape it in on the inside because it had a little bow on it, which is totally normal. This is a very thin piece of aluminum because when it's basically just going over your license plate. So you're screwing them both in place using these holes, of course, but they're both on the same screw. So it's not one of those clunky, crazy license plate frames. It's very easy to apply? No. It's very easy to attach. And because it's light, it's very cheap to ship. So that's very cool too. And that's it. We're ready to rock and roll. Now, in sublimation, we like to use what we call the 4 Ps. You print, prep or prepare, press, and peel. So I've already printed these off camera, and I just prepared my transfer right now by positioning it properly, and then I applied my heat tape to keep it in place. Now keep in mind, this is a heat resistant tape. You don't want to get caught using regular Scotch tape or anything like that. So this is a heat resistant tape. And then in a few seconds, we're gonna head on over to our heat press to press it. But before I go, oh, great question from my buddy Patrick. As someone who's new to sublimation, what is sublimation? You know, that's a great, fantastic question. Thank you, sir. Oh, and I did actually answer his other question without even knowing it. That's how locked in we are. So sublimation is really cool. This ink that you see printed here, when it gets heated up, it sublimates. A sublimation is it's a science term, which is when something goes from a solid state to a gas state without being liquid. So it's kind of like dry ice. You know, dry ice doesn't melt to liquid water. It just kind of goes straight to like water vapor and goes into the air, and it gives you that cool foggy effect. So sublimation ink does the same thing. Right now, when I take it over to my heat press and heat it up, the ink is going to turn into a gas dye. The pressure from the press is going to force that dye into the surface, and we're about to see a really cool license plate frame. Enough yapping from me. Let's go ahead and get into our first demo of the day. So today I do have a very cool press. I have my HPN Signature Series 16 by 24 inch heat press, and that's because I have a really cool transfer we're going to be showing you guys in a few moments. Now, when you're pressing flat surface items, you always want to have a piece of parchment paper on the bottom. That's going to make sure that any ink does not get on my silicone pad. This kind of, it kind of takes the hit, you know? So now I'm going to place my transfer ink side facing up, and I'm going to center it on the bottom plate of my heat press. I'm going to cover it with another sheet of parchment paper. And because this is a Signature Series, I'm going to slide this back in, and then we're going to go ahead and press. I just want to make sure that my pressure is set correctly. Actually, yeah, that's great. 385 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 seconds on the clock. And so if any of you guys have any questions while that's on the press, let me go ahead and grab my iPad here so I could read your questions. I do see you all. Hello. There we go. I'm here. Actually, let me go ahead and check in on Facebook, see if anybody has any questions here on our Facebook channel. Let me see here. Gonna go ahead and load those live comments. Feel free to shout us out wherever you're tuning in from. Just wanna say what's up. Just wanna be your pal. Alrighty, so we have 19 seconds on the clock. Now these settings that I'm using here today, 385 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 seconds on the clock. That's like kind of like my universal time and temperature for sublimation. And yeah, it seems to work really great for a lot of different things. Now when this opens up, I'm gonna help it open. And remember, we're doing the 4 Ps: print, prep, press, and peel. Gonna slide this out. Now before we peel, I usually like to wait at least, I don't know, anywhere from like 15 to 20 seconds before I peel. And that's because I want the sublimation dye to settle. Remember, it turns into a gas. So when it's very hot, it's gassing. It's gassing out. And so sometimes if you peel too soon, the ink on the surface of your substrate is still active and the gas is going to dissipate. And as it does that, it blurs on the surface of your transfer. It does a thing that we call ghosting. And ghosting is not good. That's why they have the Ghostbusters, all right? So if you want to prevent that on your flat surface items, you can just wait a few seconds before you peel. And that'll ensure that you get a nice clean peel. Another thing, this is actually going to be very hot. So I'm going to be very careful. I am going to give it a second because I don't want to burn myself. It's another good reason to wait. So now, that is super hot. There we go. Dude, look at that. That came out so great. It says, "Drive safe, future Laker on board." Really cool Father's Day gift. It's actually a really cool way. I don't know if any of you moms out there are announcing, are telling your partners about, you know, making a baby announcement, but this is a really fun way to do it. It's still a little hot, so I'm going to take it over to the table so I could show you guys on that camera, which for me is a little bit easier. So that's pretty hot. Let's see. Yeah, that's hot. It's metal. We just heated it up to 385 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, yeah, that's pretty It's pretty hot, but because it's so thin, it does cool pretty quick. So yeah, check this out. I think this is super cool. Drive safe. Future Laker on board. I'm going to try my best to get it on this other camera here. Oh, that's actually great. Now, you do have these little screw holes. There's 4 holes that you're going to want to keep in mind. Just be aware of the placement. But I could still read it. You could still read it. And so, yeah. I know on camera it's looking a little blue. That's just because the lighting in here, it's actually like purple and yellow, which I think is really cool. So look how easy that was. So I was able to make this really fast. You guys saw it, 60 seconds on the heat press. Took me maybe another, when I printed it, it took about less than a minute to print. And to prepare it, when I taped it to the transfer sheet, that ended up taking me maybe about a minute or 2 because I'm talking through my process. So yeah, really fun stuff, really cool. Check that out. That's a great project that you could do for the fathers in your life. And the cool thing about sublimation is everything is fully customizable. So it doesn't, you don't have to use this exact design. You could put whatever you want on these frames, which are available at heatpressnation.com. Okay, here we go. Comments loaded up. Creating with Tuck says, hello everybody. Roseanne, hello. Good to see you guys. So glad to see everybody here. Joining in on the chat. Says, hey, that is so cool. I need to get some of those. Yes, you do. These are really cool. Another cool project, which I'm just kind of diving right in here today. Now, this is something that I've never pressed before. And so I'm going to give myself 2 chances on this one today. So this is a credit card sized sublimation bottle opener. Check that out. I'm going to try to get in focus here. Now it's blank, so it's just pure white right now. But this is really cool. It fits inside. It's perfectly sized to fit in a wallet. So you can always have a bottle opener on hand. And what's cool is it's not just any bottle opener. This is going to be fully custom. So I'm going to try using the envelope method first. This metal is a lot thicker, has a little bit of weight to it, which is nice. You don't want it bending or folding when you're trying to pop a bottle, right? So this has a little bit more weight to it. So I don't know if I could press both sides at once, but we're about to find out live together. Now, in order to do that, what I do is I get my transfer. I make sure I print both sides next to each other with a little space in between. Then what we do is we fold it over so the corners of each side line up together. Now, in order to do that, I usually have to hold it up to the light just to make sure that when I'm folding it over, it does fold right on itself where it's supposed to be. That looks about right. There we go. And then you just fold that in half. So now, when I put it in and I line it up, I'm not going to use any heat tape on this, okay? I'm just going to put it in, line it up, and then when it goes over, what I like to do is I like to crease it. Now, due to the lighting in here, you can't really see through the paper. The paper is probably showing up as bright white to you, but I could see through, so where I crease it, I know okay, is that where the edge is? That's perfect. Everything's going to line up. So I'm going to heat press this right now, but before I do, I'm going to set myself up the other way. This is technically the right way to press these bottle openers. And this is when you do it one side at a time. So for slightly thicker metal, or most things that are double-sided and thick, you're going to want to press one side at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick, you really just pick a side and that you want to sublimate. And then you line up your transfer. Now you saw me lining up the transfer here where there's a little bit of extra print along the edges. It's exactly what we're doing with this bottle opener. And just like we did with that license plate frame, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use a little bit of our heat-resistant tape to hold this in place. So now these are different. On this one, I have both sides going up against my bottle opener, so it's folded over itself. But on this one, I'm only going to be pressing one side at a time. I'm going to press this side, wait for it to completely cool, and then I would press the other side. So we're actually going to take both of these over to the heat press right now, and we're going to see which one works best. Follow me. So now again, on the heat press, we're gonna do a fresh sheet of parchment paper on the lower platen. Honestly, anytime I'm sublimating something flat, with the exception of t-shirts, I'm always putting something on the lower platen. So right here, I'm gonna place this one, transfer side up. And this one, this is one that we actually do on the press. We line it up on the press. Since we're not using heat tape, we don't know for sure if everything's lined up correctly. So I'll do it right here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm gonna center it. Gonna fold it over itself, and then I'm gonna crease it just to make sure that I know that it's lined up properly. Now you might be thinking, wait a second, how is the bottom gonna get heat pressed? Well, what's cool about metal substrates is the heat actually passes through the metal, and then the pressure from the silicone pad pressing up, that actually customizes the opposite side. So it's really cool. Usually this is done on thinner metal products like aluminum ornaments and things like that, but because this is a bottle opener, it's a little bit thicker. So that's why I'm trying both methods today. I'm not 100% sure if this envelope method is gonna work. So let's go ahead and slide it back in. Now everything is gonna pretty much stay the same. We're at 385 degrees, 60 seconds, and actually I'm gonna up that because I need the heat to pass through and heat up both sides, the front and the back. I'm gonna go up to 70 seconds. We're staying at 385 degrees. Heat press is on, and there we go. Now, while that's pressing, let me go ahead and check in on the comments, see how everybody's doing, see if anybody has any questions here. All right, Patrick says, less than a minute to print it is the name of our collaboration album. Dude, don't get me started, man. Like, I am ready. I am ready. I play drums and guitar, so as long as you could sing, Pat, like, we're in. We're in, bro. All right, let me go ahead and chime in on the comments here. See what everybody's up to. And actually, I think I have to reload the video. Sometimes the comments, they don't always make it through as I'm loading. So just give me a second here. And we got about 15 seconds left. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yep. Very cool. Creating with Tech says those will make great business cards. Yes, these bottle openers would do amazing business cards. All right, so we got about 4 seconds left. We're gonna go ahead and open this up slowly. Gonna slide this open. And remember, I do like to wait for these, since these are thicker than the frame, so they're gonna stay hotter even longer. So I'm gonna wait maybe about another 15, 20 seconds or so before I peel them. Also, I don't have my gloves on me. If you want to peel a little sooner, or you just want to like just move things out of the way, get your next set of items on the press, it would be smart to invest in some of our pro-grade heat gloves. They protect your hands from burns and things like that. I'm pretty confident that both of these worked, but this is going to be the easier reveal. We're going to see if our double-sided print worked on this bottle opener. So for this one, because it's not taped in place, I could just let it fall out. Wow, okay, so the front came out good. Let's look at the back. You know what? The back came out not bad. It actually looks pretty good. Now, the only way I'm gonna know for sure how good it looks is when I compare it, excuse me, is when I compare it to the other print that, that was pressed just one side only. Now to do that, this is gonna be really hot, so I have a rag so I don't burn my finger. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold that down. There we go. All right. You know what? I can see a difference. I don't know if you'll be able to see a difference on camera. So let me go ahead and hold these up here. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can without burning myself. Now, in the bright light, I really don't think anyone would be able to tell the difference. So on your left, that is the one that was pressed properly with the print facing up. On the right, this was actually on bottom, so the side you're seeing was touching the bottom platen. But truth be told, both sides look great. On the left, the side that was pressed properly, I do see the colors are just a little bit darker, just ever so slightly darker. I'm gonna try to, they're very hot, so I really don't wanna touch these. I don't wanna burn myself. So again, on the left was pressed properly. Here in studio, it looks just, and I'm not exaggerating when I say like 2% darker, 5 maximum. I think both of these look fantastic. And the difference is so close that to save time, I would probably stick with the double-sided method, especially if I had a bunch of these to do. Let me bring these over to the table so I can show them off a little bit better. Also, another tip for getting things to cool down faster is just set them on a cool surface. What you don't want to do is run them under like cold water or anything like that. That's for the birds. You don't want to do that. But check out these bottle openers. Yeah, they're still pretty hot. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to not burn. Oh, you know, duh. Okay. This looks really ugly. This is like our shop rag. So what I did was on one side, back, there we go. On one side, I put a photograph. Can I hold it? Yeah, I can hold it. Okay. And then on the other side, it says best pop ever. Get it? Pop? Because, you know, if you're drinking out of like the glass bottle sodas, you know, or like a classic soda pop bottle, pop. Get it? I thought that was clever. And in the background, what you probably can't see is a pattern on my, it's a pattern that I made of my son's different faces. So yes, I did make this for myself. So that way, if you ever need to pop a bottle, if you're drinking some Topo Chico, or you have like a Mexican Coke, which is the best Coke, my gosh, you know, you can always be reminded. Best pop ever. These make great gifts, great party favors. Somebody mentioned great business cards, all of the above. Now for this other one, you probably don't notice. This side came out again. Maybe like, I'm gonna look really close for you guys because I know you can't look this close. Yeah, without exaggerating, maybe like 2% darker. We're gonna try see a comparison here. This is the quote unquote correct way. And I don't think anyone would be able to tell the difference. Again, literally minuscule difference. You know? So personally, yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for printing this double-sided. That's what I would do. Save me time. This one, once it's completely cool, we'll throw it back on and press the other blank side, which is, again, technically the right way to do it. But in this case, the wrong way, it still looks really darn good. So I'm a big fan of these. These are great gifts. They're great favors, great lots of things, and they're available at the greatest company ever, heatpressnation.com. You can get these credit card sized bottle openers. You know, let me go ahead and test that. Do I have my wallet on me? Yeah. All right. So credit card size, I have to, let's see what I got here. Sorry, Costco. You're going to have to wait. Credit card size, dude, it fits perfectly. That's fantastic. Look at that. That is the coolest. It actually works. Not that I doubted it, but you know, it's just kind of cool when you actually put something to the test. So, okay, Costco's going back now. Dude, that is really something. That's really amazing. Great gift. All right, moving on. I'm going to double check and see if we have any questions, comments here. They both look great. Oh, thank you so much. Need to get these too. Yeah, the one side is just a little darker. Okay, so you can see it. Good, good. Yeah, I don't want anyone to think that I was just like, you know, saying something, but I'm glad you guys could actually see it a little bit. And that's a decision that you could make if the color difference is that big of a deal to you. Then just press them one side at a time. Maybe load it up with the front if you're doing a batch. Do all the fronts first, let them cool, and then do the other side second. But if I mean, I'm okay with this. This was in the realm of acceptability. Super cool, super cool. Okay, so I do have at least one more. Today I'm trying something that I've never tried before again. And this is a sublimation necktie. Now I'm gonna do something a little weird here. So I printed out this pattern, which I thought was really cool. So this pattern, actually let me show you the other camera real quick here. So this pattern, in case you guys can't tell, it's a bunch of pictures of my son's, of my son that I made into a seamless pattern in Photoshop. So now the goal here is I'm going to try to press as much area on one side of the necktie as possible and then press it twice. Because this necktie, it's like 24 or 28 inches long on each half. So whatever the math is on that, it's really long. It's a full-size necktie. You could customize the front and the back if you want to. I'm just going to customize the front. So here's why I say this is going to be a little interesting. So I didn't have a template for this, so I just filled up a huge 13 by 19 inch sheet. Is this 13 by 19? I think it is. Or 11 by 17. I filled up a big sheet as big as I possibly could. I want to say this is 13 by 19. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to like lay it out. Thank you to the Pythagorean theorem, because I know if I lay it out diagonally across my deal, it'll work best. Again, you could do this. The other thing you could do, check this out, okay? We're going to do a little bit of magic here. So another thing you could do is you could cut your, if it is a true seamless pattern, you can cut it right up the middle, right? Cut it at any point, and then all you have to do is just line it up. Let's see, where does this line up? Here we go. So then you can just kind of, and let me do this over here so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So check this out. So what I'm doing is I cut this, and so now I'm trying to line it up with wherever it matches. Now here's the thing, it's not going to be perfect. And actually, I don't know why I'm lining it up there. I could line it up here to get the biggest possible print area. So now I don't recommend this, especially with photos. What I would recommend is give a looser spacing to your photos. So that way, instead of lining up over a photo where people are going to notice, you could line it up over a blank area, which is a lot less noticeable. Oh, whoops. So let me pre-cut some tape. So here we go. Now I get this question a lot. People ask like, hey, I don't have a big printer. Can I stitch together multiple sublimation prints? And I usually say no. But I've had enough people tell me they did it, that they did it successfully, to where now I'm like, well, okay, sure, if people are doing it and it's working, what the heck, who am I to stand in your way? So I'm going to tape it back there. Then I'm also going to tape it back here. And we're going to see if we can actually make it work with a stitched print. So I've stitched this. It's gigantic. Now I got to position my tie over it. And I don't know how much of this tie is actually going to print here. And now, that's another thing that I wanted to show you. So, got a big roll. When you're working with fabrics and you don't want to use heat tape, because sometimes, especially on sensitive fabrics, heat tape can leave a little bit of a residue, you may want to use an adhesive spray. Now, if you are going to use an adhesive spray, you don't want to go to Home Depot and get the adhesive spray that's used for like applying things to walls. You're going to want to use a specially designed adhesive spray that doesn't leave any residue after you heat it up. So this is Albachem Eco Mist. It's a special adhesive spray that's designed for the garment decoration industry. So after you heat press it, there's not going to be any residue left on the garment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake it up a little bit, and I'm going to do just a very light coating on the printed transfer. Just a few sprays. Use it in a well-ventilated area because, there we go. Use just a few sprays, and then when you lay down your transfer, you can just kind of hand press it in place. and that's going to help keep its position no matter where you're at. Now, you notice I laid down a piece of parchment paper. You want to be careful when you're using adhesive mist because when it lands on a hard surface, it will get a little bit sticky, and you'll just have to clean it off later. So, maybe cover it with some parchment wherever you're going to be spraying, or things like that. So here we go. We're going to see how much of this we can actually press. Let's head on over to the heat press. So now, on our heat press, 1 second here, I'm going to cover the entire surface with parchment paper. And actually, I'm going to be a little overkill. We're going to do this. And I'm going to see how much of this tie I can actually sublimate. Now, this is a 16 by 24 inch heat press. We do have bigger ones available, bigger heat presses available, I should say. So here we go. Obviously, even if I lay it down diagonal, it's not going to work. So let me just see how much of this I can press. Okay. Yeah, we do have bigger heat presses. There are companies that specialize. There's companies that specialize in large format prints like these neckties and like other things you may have seen. And those companies, they have the huge large format heat presses. It's like 3 feet by 4 feet. Some of them are like, I think like 6 feet by 7 feet. They're really huge. You can actually buy those at heatpressnation.com if you so desire. So I'm going to slide this back in. I want to make sure the bottom is completely on the press. I know the top is not going to get everything, but let's see how much of this we could press. I'm going to loosen my pressure just a little bit for this necktie. And instead of 70, we're going to go back down to 60 seconds here. And I know I shouldn't be saying this because I'm a professional, but let's see how this works. There we go. We got a nice pressure. Everything's on the press. And all right, we got 60 seconds on the clock. Let me go ahead and grab the comments here. Let's see what. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that, folks. A little issue with the microphone here, but we should be back. We should be live. And we are done with our transfer. So now this is an interesting part that I'm going to reveal. Let's see how much of this actually got heat press. And remember, I didn't use any tape. There we go. There we go. That looks fantastic. Now, there is a slight area of overlap. So if you look really close, you could see it right here. You may not have noticed it if I wouldn't have pointed it out to you. There is a little line. So for everybody who's asked, like, hey, can we just overlap? Can we stitch together multiple prints? This is why I say no, you should avoid it. And that's because the stitch line is usually visible. Now, this isn't crazy visible. It's not the end of the world visible. I think the whole thing looks great. But yeah, if we're asking, like, can people notice? Well, yeah, you can kind of notice. And then over here, where it fell off the edge of the press, I'm going to have to find a way to overlap that, you know? So this is something that I probably would not recommend doing if you don't have a big enough heat press. But, I mean, on the other side, let me actually see if I could put it on. Will people even notice? Let's see. Got to tie the tie So you do have to have, right, let me see, do I have enough tie sublimated? I think I do. This could work, actually. Let's see. Okay, so the stitch is right here, but you know what? I don't know. You tell me. Would you guys notice this? Would you guys notice where like the stitch was? I think most people would just see. Let me stand up here, I guess. I think most people would just see, and it's perfectly sized. It comes right down to my belt area, which is where the tie is supposed to end, right? That looks pretty cool. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised. Actually, I don't know why I'm surprised. Like, I knew it was going to work. But I guess we do have enough distance on a 16 by 24 inch heat press and you know, since this part is getting tied, this part is going to be like under your collar, you know, most people aren't going to see where you have to stitch the other half. So, you know, if we had more time today, I would do the other half on camera. I'll probably have to do that a little bit later. But yeah, that actually came out pretty cool. I think the pattern's really neat. Again, it's a bunch of little baby pictures of my little guy. So Sunny Boy made it onto a tie today. And then, of course, if you want to be really professional, you would also sublimate the back as well. You know, so that's really cool. All righty, let me go ahead and see if we have any questions here. Dee says that is so cute. Oh, thank you so much. The kiddos would love to see you wearing that. Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I just might wear it to church on Sunday for our Father's Day service. I almost never wear a tie to church. We're a little bit more casual, but I just might make the exception because this is really cool, and I don't really know any other opportunities I have to wear it, so that's really neat. Again, those are available at heatpressnation.com. Now, we are a little bit pressed for time today, so we're going to have to show you this sample maybe in an Instagram reel. You're going to have to check out our Instagram if you want to see how we made this awesome apron. I think this is super cool, and it's super easy. This presses in 60 seconds. So, you know, to print out a graphic of this size, this probably prints in about a minute or less, maybe 90 seconds, 60 seconds on the heat press, and you have a super cool customized apron. Hey, if you guys have any questions about how any of this was pressed, what equipment we used or anything like that, be sure to put it in the comments. You can find more information on this sublimation, heat presses, and a whole world of other heat transfer equipment at heatpressnation.com. Now, I do gotta let you know, every week we hold 4 different classes. So if you've been curious about starting your heat transfer journey, but you don't know where to start, we have a class dedicated. It's Heat Press 101. So this is heat pressing for beginners. We also have a few more specific and advanced classes on sublimation, white toner, and direct to film. All these classes are available at heatpressnation.com. If you want the shortcut, you can go to heat.press/class. CLASS. Once again, heat.press/class. You can check out all of our classes. Now, do me one more favor, especially if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you can get more heat transfer content as we release. We got new stuff coming out every week. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you around. Become a sublimation master with the Sublimation Masterclass presented by Heat Press Nation. This online course contains over 8 hours of exclusive content packed with valuable information and zero fluff. In this masterclass, you're going to learn how to select the right equipment, receive thorough instruction on relevant products and processes, and gain valuable business insight. With your purchase, you'll have unlimited access to our exceptional lessons and demos, which are developed and curated by industry professionals with years of experience. This exclusive Sublimation Masterclass is available for $500, but is included for free with select Sawgrass printer bundles available at heatpressnation.com. For more information, visit heatpressnation.com/sublimation masterclass.